Heavenly, say thank you for the gift of this time. Thank you for the gift of this morning that you've granted unto us. Enable us to understand this lesson. Begin with us and end with us. Pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
And thank you so much, Joan, for the word of prayer. Today, we are going to continue looking at linear programming, and this is our fourth lesson. And our major area of concentration for this lesson is going to be on interpreting and finding the optimum solution to a set of linear inequalities. And for this particular lesson, we are going to concentrate on the UNEB past numbers. Those are the numbers that we are going to be dealing with. And when we finish, I'll be confident that you'll be in position to approach many of the linear programming problems that you'll be facing. And our lesson focus today is going to be to find and being able to interpret the optimum solution to a set of linear inequalities. And our first item is here. This is the UNEB item, and maybe we can have someone read for us. Anyone to read for us? Okay, yes. Patricia?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, let me read. An investor wants to buy two types of generators, A and B. Generator A needs 2 meters squared of space and B needs 3 meters squared. The available space is only 60 meters squared. The cost of A is $2,000 and that of B is $10,000. The investor has $80,000 to be spent. A. Write mathematical statements that show the relation between the two generators. B. Show the feasible region of the relation on the Cartesian plane. C. Use the graph to find the greatest number of generators of both A and B that the investor can buy using the minimum amount of money.
Okay. Thank you so much, Patricia. Now, through the chat, members, can you let me know what is going to be your X and what is your Y? Put it in the chat. What are you choosing as your X and what are you choosing as your Y? Place it in the chat. What is your X and what is your Y? Read the question, understand, know which two variables are changing, which two things are changing. Then it should give you the hint on what to let as your X and what to let as your Y. Very good. In the chat, Amara is saying A is X, B is Y. Patricia, A is X, B is Y. Joan, A, X, and B, Y. Very good. Because we say that always what they begin with is what you should name as your X and what should be your Y. So the first step we are going to do, we shall let. So we shall say that let X represent a generator of type A or generator A. Then let Y represent generator B. Now we say that after, you can now draw your simple table to have your data summarized, whereby now in our table, we put the two variables we have identified that change, and that one is A and then B. Those are the two things that change. Now, after noticing that, you read again through your question. You look at what has been put. They're telling us that they need space. So I'm going to say space required. Now, when you look at the space required, you are noticing that A needs 2. So where there is A, I'll put 2, and B needs 3. But the available space is 60. So here I'll say available space, or I'll say the total space is 60. Then I continue. I look at the cost. So when you look at the cost of the generator, you're noticing A is $2,000 and then B is $10,000. But the total amount is 80,000 that they have. Now, that is your simple table. The next thing is for you to identify what kind of inequalities am I going to use. Now they are telling you that I want you to read this statement. The available space is only 60 meters squared. Members, through the chart, when they tell you that that is the space we have, what inequality do we use? Put in the chat. What inequality are we going to use? The available space is 60 meters squared. Which inequality? If they tell you that the amount I have in my pocket is only 50,000, so which inequality do you use? Chisache says less than or equal to. Cynthia, yes than or equal to. Perfect. Yes. Joanne, Hannah, yes. So that one shows that you understood. So here it means that it is less than or equal to. Whenever they tell you that that is the maximum we have, that is the amount we have, you cannot go beyond 60. So this one, in simple terms, that you cannot exceed 60. That is the meaning. Not exceed. You cannot go beyond that. So meaning we shall use less than or equal. So I will say space available, the inequality. So that inequality I write 2x plus 3y is less than or equal to 60. Now that is your first. The number 2, go to the cost. The cost, they are telling you that the investor has 80,000 to be spent. Members, which inequality are we going to use? It seems people have already put the answer. Favor, I'm saying Kathy, I'm saying Zab. We said earlier on that when they tell us that is what you have, it means that it cannot increase. When your parent gives you 20,000 as your pocket money, be grateful and go to school, learn and come back. It means that that is what you have. It cannot be changed. So whenever you have a given amount, so that means that the investor's money cannot go beyond, not go beyond. So it means that still we shall use our less than or equal to. So we shall write the cost as 2,000x plus 10,000y is less than or equal to 80,000. This is our second one. But we can now reduce it further. We say that when we want to reduce this equation, what do we do? When we want to reduce it, we can go and find out what is the highest common factor. I told you that initially, because we are still in the learning process, for you can prioritize saying, I have 2,000, I have 10,000, and I have my 80,000. Members, you can notice that I have dropped the dollar sign, but it doesn't mean I've dropped them. I'll bring them the moment I start looking at money. So when you notice is that I can first do by 1,000. So if I do by 1,000, I'll get 2, I'll get 10, I'll get 80. Then you ask, what about, isn't there any other thing that goes through? That yes, 2 can go through. So I'll get 1, I'll get 5, and here I'll get, when you look at this 80, you notice that this is what, 40, something like that. I don't know whether it is clear. Now, after that, you say, now my highest common factor is going to be 2 times the 1,000, which is going to give me 2,000. Meaning that if I'm reducing this, I will divide by 2,000. But that reduction, you do it after writing your original equation. Don't just write the reduced equation. First write, then here I will say 2,000x divide by the 2,000 plus the 10,000 y divided by the 2,000 less than or equal to 80,000 divided by the 2,000. 40,000. Then when you reach there, then you start now doing your cancelling. This and this will reduce, you remain with 1. The zeros will cancel by 2, 1 by 2, you get your 5. The zeros will cancel by 2, 1 by 2, you get what? 40. So meaning that now here our reduced equation will, inequality will be x plus 5y less than or equal to 40. Okay. Let me first take on this hand. It has a question. Yes, Joshua?
Teacher, is it possible for the total to be less than one of the variables?
I'm not getting, like which total?
Like, for example, is it possible that, let's say, for example, B was past like around 100,000 and A was still 2,000, then the total is 80,000.
Yeah, it is possible. It is possible. So that one is testing you, because sometimes you may have two options, because we say that linear programming helps you to make a decision. You have found yourself sometimes whereby this is the phone. There is an iPhone, there is a Samsung. Whereby an iPhone, I don't know how much, but I heard kids told me it is all about 3 million. Then you find your Samsung is about maybe 80,000. But the total amount you have in your pocket, you find that you have 200,000. Then you ask yourself, is it possible to go for any of them? Then the option is that actually the truth is you cannot be able to afford. So then what you have to do is to go for your Tecno that can buy the 200, that can be bought at 200 what? 1,000. So linear programming helps you to make the right decision basing on the resources you have. So it is very possible whereby you have the two items you have are expensive and you don't have money. So for such a case, you do not buy anything. So those are cases where you get 0, 0, whereby you cannot go for anything, but instead you sacrifice and say, I'm not going to buy an iPhone. I'm not going to buy the Samsung. Let me go for your Tecno. So you buy your Tecno and you be a happy person. Yeah, so it is possible. Okay. Hope I have answered your question. Okay, now after this, members, I am going to remove this. Okay, now here I'll write my conclusive equation as x plus 5y less than or equal to 40. Now, the last equations we are going to write are what we call the non-negative quantities, because I told you yesterday that non-negative inequalities, it means that you cannot have a negative generator. You cannot have a negative generator. So always include them, and that shows that you are understanding what you are doing. So we shall say non-negative. You can call them quantities or inequalities, but quantities make more sense, because when you look at what you want to buy, they are in terms of quantity. So here I will say x is greater than or equal to 0 and y is greater than or equal to 0. Now, those are the inequalities. Those are the mathematical statements you have mentioned. But still, you may ask yourself, you can go through and read the question and complete it and say that in your question, they wanted you to find the greatest number of generators both at a minimum amount of money. Now, you can generate your objective function as well, because generating it gives you an idea on how you are going to compute the amount. So lastly, I'm going to put our objective function. Remember, our objective function is the one that helps us to make a conclusion. So here, you remember our generator costs 2,000, so I'll say 2,000 of x plus my generator B, which is 10,000 Y. But since this one, we are talking in terms of money, costs, and the rest of that, then here I will say costs in terms of X and Y is equal to that. Members, let me know through the chat whether we are on the same page. Are we on the same page, members? Chisache says yes. Zab says yes. Okay. Yeah, we are on the same page. We are on the same page. Now, since we are on the same page, we are going to go on and start on our graphical work. Once you finish generating your inequalities, the next step is that now we are going to come up with our equations, or what we call the boundary lines. So that is the next thing we are going to do, and you are going to allow me to do it on the next slide. So when we go on to the next slide, I'm going to have, this is my slide. Now I'm going to start with the equations we have. So the first equation that we had reduced was x plus 5y is less than or equal to, I think it was 40. If I'm not mistaken, it was 40. Just to confirm, x plus y less than or equal to 40. So we say the first thing, draw your boundary line or write your boundary line. So I'll say my boundary line is going to be x plus 5y. And those who have just joined in today, we said a boundary line is just a matter of you removing the inequality sign and put an equal sign. And you say this one is equal to 40. Then the nature of this line. Members, what is the nature of the line? Nature of the line. Nature of the line. You can place your answer. Okay, it is a full line. It is a full line, or what we call a body line. Very good. So here, you can just put it for yourself to know that this is a full line. It is a body line. Then the next thing is draw the table. I'll come here. I draw my table. So in my table, I'll have my x and y. And we say that always you have to take note of 2 points. That is what we call the intercept points. And we say that under the intercept, x is 0. And then we have another one when y is 0. So we shall put here. So say x plus 5y is equal to 40. So when x is 0, I replace where there is x, I put 0 plus 5y is equal to 40. Is equal to 40. Then when I continue, I'll have my 5y is equal to 40. So I divide by 5, and my y will surely equal to, I think this is 8. So here I'll have my 8. Then I continue. I'll find out what the other value is going to be. So still I say x plus 5y is equal to 40. So where there is y, you put 0. So meaning I'll have x plus 5 times 0 is equal to 40. And my x will equal to 40. So here I'll have my 40. Now after, please extract your coordinates. Don't leave them in the table because you have not extracted them. So I'll extract my coordinates that I'll plot 0, 8, and then I'll plot 40 and 0. I want to let you know that when they are squaring, they will be squaring you the coordinates you have been able to extract. And please always ensure you have at least 2 coordinates for that particular line you are plotting. Okay, part B now, we are going to go to the second inequality, and that inequality we had it as 2x plus 3y less than or equal to 60. So our boundary line is going to be 2x plus 3y is equal to 60. So still you go on, you draw your simple table. In your table, you'll have x and you'll have y. So still you'll do the same when x is 0 and when y is 0. So still we shall go on and say now, I have my 2x plus 3y equals to 60. So where there is x, you put 0. So you come in your equation, where you see your x, you put 0. Now, this is where we have our x, is where we shall replace with it as 0. So I will say now, 2 times 0 plus 3y is equal to 60. So our 3y will equal to 60. And when you divide both sides by 3, you'll find that your y is equal to 6. 60 divided by 3 is a 20. So here we shall have our 20. Then you do the other one, that 2x plus 3y is equal to 60. So where there is y, you put 0. So members, we shall have 2x is equal to 60. divide by 2, and your x will equal to 30. So where there is x here, we shall put 30. Then after, extract your coordinates. So we shall extract our coordinates as 0, 20, and then I extract 30 and 0. Now, we have extracted our major coordinates. And remember, now what is remaining is us being able to plot, because the two others that we have, which is x greater than or equal to 0, its boundary line is x is equal to 0. Y greater than or equal to 0, its boundary line is y is equal to 0. And we know the nature of these lines are going to be both lines. Now, look at your x values, analyze very well, and ask yourself, will I need a scale or no? Will these values be able to fit on my graph or no? So when you look at your x values, you are noticing that our x values, the biggest value we have for our what? For our x, the biggest value we have 40. Then for y, the biggest value we have is 20. So when you look at these values, you are noticing that you are going to need a scale because they may not fit on the graph. Number 2, I want you to know that when it comes to linear programming, we don't need the negative side. And since we don't need the negative side, please always feel free always always feel free not to leave that negative side to say that I'm balancing the graph and the rest of that. So always feel free to leave it. So allow me now to go on and I draw my line or my graph. So I'm going now to on my graph. Of my graph is okay. Then I'm going to come here. I draw my line, but always I encourage, please make sure you leave some space. So I will draw it like this, and I will draw it like that. Yeah, but allow me to remove this line here. First, show you something again. Allow me to draw it again. Yeah, hope now it is very okay, the way I want it. Now, after, I'm going to come and I put a demarcation. I demarcate that this is where my graph is going to end. Now, after demarcating, since I'm going to use a scale, so now it is up to which scale you want. But now, for me looking at my values of x and y, I can decide to use 10. So I can say this is 0, this is 10, this is 20. Looking at my values of x, this is 30, and this is 40. I know they will fit. Then I can go on y. When I look at y, the highest value I have is a 20. So for it still, I can decide to say, I can use a scale of 10. So I can say this is 10, this is 20. But in case you are not happy with it, for you can say, for me, let me use 1, 2, 3 up when I reach 20. It is very okay. So don't mind. However small your graph is, don't mind, but for you something that is going to be easy for you to plot. That is the most important thing. Do not put things or don't use a scale whereby it is going to be hard for you to plot. So here I'm still starting from 0. But we say that the qualities of a good graph, 1, you must have a scale. Number 2, after that, you must have your title. So I'm going to come here and I write my title and I say a graph. And now when you are writing your title, make sure it is not within your graph. Make sure it is above the graph. Yeah, so take note of that. So I'll say a graph showing the feasible region. I'm telling you about these titles, and please take them seriously. I think those I told your friends last year, but some of them didn't take them seriously. And whenever they are scoring, these titles are given a mark. There is some value attached to them. A graph showing the feasible region. Then you can say between generator A and between generator A and B. A and B. And do not abbreviate. Then when we are labeling our axis, we know very well that this is the y-axis. and we know that this is the x-axis. But clearly indicate what do you have along the x-axis. That along the x-axis is where we have type, x was type A, and then along the y is where we have type B. Indicate that is generator of type A and generator of type B. Number 2, write your scale. That my scale, I have my vertical scale. And what does your vertical scale? Now, always, it is a good practice to report in terms of 1 centimeter. Unless when you look at your scale, does not come out very well. Unless when you look at it, you see things are not going to come out very well. So you can say now 1 centimeter represents, members, put for me in the chat. Looking at our graph, what does 1 centimeter represent? 5, very good. 1 centimeter represents 5 generators. Okay, then we shall go to the horizontal scale. Then you still say 1 centimeter still represents 5 generators of type. So in fact, even for you of generators of type A, here of type B. Now, after that, it means that now you have at least attained some mark. I want to tell you that once you label your graph like this, there is at least something you have attained. And it shows you, 1, that you are very organized. Number two, even in real life, whenever we are presenting a graph, when we are making presentation, trying to analyze diseases and other features using graphs, your graph must be a talking graph with all the features. Even I think other subjects you will do the same. Okay, now after this, we start now the plotting. I will come and I will start the plotting. The first point is 0.8. So I'll come. Now, when you look at our scale, you are not seeing that here, let me first break it. When you look at our scale, please, our scale, you are not seeing that this is where we have, this is 0 and this is 10. So you can first find out what it is in each box. So when you look here, you are not seeing that. To find out what is in each small box here, what you do, you get the 2 consecutive values. You get the value above, which is 10, minus the value lower, divide by how many boxes are in between, that they are 10. So meaning you have 10 out of 10, which is 1. Meaning that each small box you have here has a 1. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the 10. So when we are looking for 0 and 8, it means I'll count only 80 boxes. Okay, now I'm going to come here. I first erase this and then I plot my point. So 0 and 8, members, you agree with me. These are 5, 6, 7, 8. It is here. It is there. Then I go to the next one, which is 40, 0. Since that one is already there, I will just plot like that. Then the next thing I'm going to do is, since the line is bold, I'll get my ruler and then I join those points. I'll get my ruler and I join like that. Okay, I join like that. So feel free always to extrapolate your line a bit. Okay, now after we said we must choose where are we going to shade. So now my shading, yesterday we were getting points. So I'm going to come to the shading. I'll have A, I have B. Members, let me know. Choose any point, either from A or to B. Any point I've seen favors. I think it was the first paper saying 5, 5. Okay, when you look at 5 and 5, 5 and 5 is a point here. So it is under B. Then you go for testing. Please show that you are testing. Don't just write for your things from anywhere without showing how you are obtaining them. Sure. Now I'm going to come, since my body is small, allow me to test from here. Testing. Oh, okay. I can even write here, my testing. Now, when I come to test, we use the inequality. So I will say x plus 5y less or equal to 40. Now, our coordinate we have chosen is 5 and 5. So this is your x, this is your y. So I will say 5 plus 5 times 5, let's say equal to 40. This will give us the 5 plus the 25, let's say equal to 40. And this is 30, let's say equal to 40. Then I ask members, is it wanted and wanted? Put in the chat. Wanted and wanted. Joanna said it is a wanted. Patricia is saying unwanted. Isn't 30 less than or equal to 40, Patricia? Yes. So it is a wanted region because actually you can see that 30 is less than 40. So it makes sense. So after that, it means that we are going to shade the other region. So I'll come and I shade very well the other region where A is. Those who used the 0, it came out automatically that then after we said we must label clearly show your what? Your line that you have labeled it. And please don't use inequalities. It was very sad this year for children who used the inequalities. So say x plus y is equal to 40. Now, after that, we are going to go to the next one. Now, the next one we are going to plot is going to be our 0, 20, and 30, and 0. So I'll come here and I plot again 0, 20. 0, 20 is here. And then 30, 0, 30, 0 is here. So still, I get my ruler. I get my ruler. And when I get my ruler, I'm going to join. So you join. Since it is the board line, still you join very well. Something like that. Yeah. So feel free to extrapolate your line like that. Now, after drawing, still we are going to choose. Are we choosing A or B? Now, allow me to indicate this is my A, this is my B. Choose one point from any of the regions. Members are saying 0, 0. Okay, Joanne. Joanne wants us to use 0 and 0. So members, still you do the testing. So allow me now to test since I don't have space, but I'm going to write. So we are going to test 0 and 0. Now look at your equation. So it is 2x plus, and here please feel free to use any point from any region that you choose. So here I'll have 2 times 0 plus 3 times 0 less or equal to 60. This is 0 plus 0 less or equal to 60, and 0 less than or equal to 60. Members, is 0 less than 60? And therefore, what is the one? Is it wanted? Joanna said it is the wanted region. Very good. So being a wanted region, we shall not shade it. So members, now I'm going to come and I shade the other region. And please show your working. Do not, remember here, this number has 20 marks. So I'll come and I'll shade this side like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. Then after I'm going to label my equation, that this equation I have plotted is an equation 2x plus 3y is equal to 60. And make sure you put it in a visible place whereby the person scoring may be able to see it. I'm using different colors for one reason, such that my work can be easily seen. Now, after doing so, it means that now you have reached somewhere. Now, when you look at the other part, you are not seeing that there is this region here, meaning it is still part of the solution. There is this region down, it is still part of the solution. So what does it mean? Since we have already said that our y and x must always be greater than 0, please, we also go on and shade that region because sometimes it is not being catered for. So that's why those inequalities are very important. So we are going to go and shade. So I'll come, I shade, I shade, I shade this side as well to show that we cannot have negatives. Otherwise, when you leave it there, it is an indicator that you can have negatives. So I'll shade like that, like that, like that. Now, when you finish like that and you have shaded, then it means that at least you are on the right steps and everything now is very okay. Now, the next thing we are going to do, or our next task is going to be now to extract the coordinates. But like I told you, always first look at the corner points. Those corner points are the ones that will help you to find out are the ones that are going to help you to find what? your minimum or maximum point is. Those are the first values. And I say that always it is a good practice to have at least 5 points. So now members, one of my points is here. I have another. I'm first looking at where there are corners for that quadrant. I have here, I have here. I'm going to first extract those ones. Then after looking at that, I also told you that also the points along the line are also very good. So I can have a point here. As long as I can read it is the most important thing. I have a point here. I have a point here. Those ones that you can read, I can also read that point. So those are some of my points I have. So members, can we put in the chat all the points you are seeing, what you are able to read? Put them in the chat and then we can extract them and then we test them. For you, any point you can read, put it in the chat. For me, I've circled for you the ones that I'm seeing on my screen. What about on your graph? Such as says 5, 5. Any point you put, we shall verify. 15, 5, 24, 15, 5. Okay, I think 0, 0, 30, 0. Okay, I think allow me to go to the next screen. Allow me to go to the next screen such that I can write them very well. Such that I can write them very well. Okay, but that is good. All those points, we are going to test them. 10, 5, 10, 5, yes. Okay, 0, 8. Allow me to go to my next screen. Now, when I come to my next screen, I'm going to first for that. 15, I think it was 15, 5. Which other value? Okay, 15, 5, 0, 8, 24, 20, and 4. Then I saw some 5, 5. I think I'm still looking through the chat. 10, 5. Seems members 30, 0. Okay. Members, the other values that you have not talked about. Look at that. Look at your graph. Allow me to bring my graph again. There are some values you have not yet extracted. Don't have to extract as many values. There are some values I've just seen that we have not yet extracted. Look at the graph. I think this was the line. Oh, it was this. I think it was that. Then another line was here. Another line was there. Yes, for me, I'm seeing other values. Take an example. Let me show you one. I'm seeing here, for you target the line, I'm seeing there is a point here. Members, are you seeing here? There is this one here. That one can as well be one of them. Are you seeing that point? As long as you don't read points. So members, which point is this that I've circled? I don't know whether people can see it. 25, 2. 15, 7. I've circled a point. I want members to read it for me. 28, 3. Sure. Me, I'm not seeing it as 28, 3 on my graph here. 27, 2. Yes, Mega. Yeah, I'm seeing 27, 2, but confirm from your side as well. Okay, I'm seeing 27 and 2. So those are some of our points, members. So the rest we can first ignore them, no problem. Now, after doing so, we go back that we had it was the cost in terms of X and Y. And we said that these ones were at $2,000 of X plus the 10,000 of Y, like that. Then what do you do? What you do, you draw your table like that. This is my table. And you start now working out. You say, I am going to substitute my cost when I have 0 and 0. So you substitute, this is 2,000 times 0 plus 10,000 times 0. So I end up with 0. So here I'll have my 0. I'll just put here costs. Then I'll come to 0, 8. I'll say cost when I have 0 and 8. So I'll say 2,000 times 0 plus 8 times the 10,000. So this one will give me, that is 80,000. So here I'll have 80,000. So members, can we do the rest? Can we do the rest and complete? 8,000. Is it 8,000? 80,000. Because this was 10,000. Okay. 80. Okay. So can we do the rest and put, for me, I'm going to just put what I'm getting here directly. But for you, continue doing. I'm going to just put what I'm getting directly. But for you, please carry on the calculation. Carry on the calculation until we get what we want. So allow me to do it manually. And then as for you, also do yours. In case there is any answer we don't agree on, you let me know. Yes, there is any answer I'm writing and you see it does not agree with what you have, you let me know. Okay, members, and the answers agree. Teacher, is it a must that if we have corner points, then they are most likely to enable us get a mark? Yes, Gisachi, that is true. That is true. Okay. Okay, I think Hunter agrees with me. Hunter agrees with me. Okay. 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 Now, members, we are going to go back. When you look at our item, then we have finished. We have extracted many of them. And now we have to conclude. We have to conclude. So I want you to go back, read the question again, what the question wanted us. They wanted us to find the greatest number of generators of both types A and B that the investor can buy using the minimum amount of money. So members, looking through the question, what do you think is going to be our answer? Okay, Gavanian, I don't know that I'll give. Yes, Gavanian. Yes,
Morning, sir.
good morning.
Master was asking
Hmm.
how the 7,000 come up. I never attended yesterday's lesson.
How the 7,000?
Came up.
Which 7,000? This one we have?
Yes, the answer.
Like we are substituting in our costs. Remember we had our costs as 2,000x plus 10,000y. So where there is x, put 27. So I have 2,000 times 27 plus 10,000 times the 2. Then when you compute is where we are getting that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, members, can you tell me now in the chat, because they want the greatest number, I want you to read. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back. They are telling us, use the graph to find the greatest number of generators of both types A and B that the investor can buy using the minimum amount of money. So members, put in the chat, what is your answer? Put in the chat. Okay. Okay, I know. Now we first find out, looking through what we have, what is the minimum amount that you are seeing? What is the minimum amount? What is the minimum amount you can be able to see? The minimum amount is 0. Okay. 0, 60,000, yes. 0. So 0 is the minimum. But if it is 0, it means that this investor is not going to buy anything. Yet he wants to buy. So we shall automatically disqualify those who are giving us a 0 to be our minimum. So that one, we shall disqualify it. Hope you have understood why. Because he wants to buy and he has the resources. So 0, it means he did not buy anything. Yet they want him to buy. Now, members, again, what is the minimum on the amount that is remaining? Now, on the amount remaining, you are noticing that it is 60,000. But 60,000 is appearing here. 60,000 is appearing there. Not so? Now, when you look at the 60,000 appearing, then you are going to go on and ask yourself, the next question is going to be, when we are asking ourselves, it is 60,000. Now, you are going to ask yourself, which pair am I going to take on? I have this pair of 30, I have this pair of 55. So members, which pair are we going to take? Because all of them are yielding, but I want you to give us the reason why you have chosen that pair. Favor. Okay, I've seen a Favor. Favor, have your hand up and you tell us why. Yes, Favor.
Okay, I think it's 5-5 because this investor wants to get both types A and B. But then when we look at this one with 30 and 0, it means he will only get for type A, yet he needs both types.
Wow, perfect. I cannot add on anything. That is the reason. That is the reason. So please, then you'll go back and have a conclusion. So use the graph to find the greatest number of both types A and B that the investor can buy using the minimum amount of money. So that's how you're going to conclude. Someone can conclude for us. Okay, Favor, conclude for us how you have concluded.
I hadn't, but let me try. I would conclude and say that Okay, someone can help me.
No, first try. You have said you're going to try.
Let's see. Use the graph to find the greatest number of generators. So I would say maybe the greatest number, okay, the investor can buy 5 generators for both types A and B using the minimum amount of money, which is $60,000.
Okay.
Dollars.
Okay. That is one. Yes, Samara.
Good morning.
Yes,
So
good
I
morning.
would say the investor, you can say the answer is therefore the greatest number of generators the investor can buy for both type A and B are in a total of 5, and the minimum amount money you can use is of $60,000.
All right. Okay, good. Yes, so you conclude and you write in words, you write in words. Do not just put their figures because you'll miss out the mark. Okay, members, are we on the same page? Are we on the same page? Are we good to continue? Okay, good. We're on the same page and we are good to continue. Okay, now let us do, this was last year's number and it is the one that we are going to do. Anyone who wants to read for us? Okay. Oh, let me who has not said anything. Okay, let me start with Monique.
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning.
A tailor makes school uniforms for boys and girls. The tailor makes at least 8 sets of uniforms for boys and not more than 100 sets of uniforms for girls. Each set of the uniform for boys requires 4 the material that each set of uniform for girls requires 3 meters of material. The tailor has at most 600 meters of material to use. The tailor makes a profit of shilling 8,000 on each set of boys' uniform and shilling 6,000 on each set of girls' uniform. The tailor is not sure of the number of sets of uniforms to make in order to maximize profit. Should I read the tax?
Yes, continue.
A. Express the tailor's condition as inequalities and equations. B. Show the visible region of the tailor's conditions on the Cartesian plane. C. Help the tailor to determine the possible number of sets of boys and girls uniforms that should be made to maximize profit. Hence, state the maximum amount of money the tailor is likely to make.
Okay, thank you. Now, when you look at our item here, the first thing I want us to put in the chat, what is going to be your X and what's going to be your Y? Patricia said boy X, girl Y. Okay, I'm looking through the chat. I'm not seeing, I've only seen one person. The rest for you, what are you going to put? Boy X, girl. Good. Okay, I'm saying Bernard.
Yes, sir.
Yes, do you have a question?
Not really. I don't have.
Oh, okay. I was seeing your hand up, so I was wondering. Okay, now after you identifying that is the very important, the first important thing. The rest can wait. Now I'm going to come here and I say, let X represent, because when you look here, they are looking at the uniforms for boys and uniform for girls. Let X represent the boys' uniforms. Let Y represent the girls' uniforms. That is the first opening statement. Afterwards, we said you can have your data summarized. But if you don't wish, then you can just continue. But if you wish, you can first even have a simple table, and you say, these are my boys, these are my girls. Now, why is this table important? It is very important more so if you have very many equations that you are going to generate. But when you find that the inequalities you're going to generate a few, then it is okay. I want you to take note of the word and. Whenever you find the word and, it means that those two statements are going to be separate. It means that it will yield two different inequalities. When you find the word and, those are two statements that have been joined, two sentences. Remember, and is, I think, a joining word. It joins two sentences. So you have, the tailor makes at least 80 sets of uniform for boys. Now, members, identify the mathematical word. The word is at least. Can you put the chart, this first inequality of ours? I put a comma there, a stop. Can you put the chart? How is that inequality going to look like? How is that inequality going to look like? Put it in the chat. The tailor makes at least, very good, Patricia, greater than or equal. So I'm going to say my first inequality. I can say A, at least, so I will say X is greater than or equal to 80. Then I go to the second inequality. In fact, label them. Here, allow me to use I. Okay. Then the second inequality. And not more than 40. Members, which inequality did we say? Not more than. Which inequality do we use? Very good, Patricia. We said we used less than or equal to. The moment you see the word not, we say the moment you see the word not, it means that there is an equal coming in. It does not exceed. Those are the words they can use. Does not exceed, not more than. So we shall say that for y is less than or equal to 100. Okay, very good. Then we continue. Each set of uniform for boys requires 4 meters. So here, in case I was in my table, I'll come and I say now the materials. For boys is 4. And each set of uniform for girls is 3 meters. So for the girls, it's 3 meters. Then they told that the tailor has at most 600 meters of the material. So here the total is 600. Now members, let me know through the chat. When they say at most 600, which inequality is that? Which inequality is that? At most. Which inequality do we use? Less than or equal to. That is by mark. Very good. Ian, that's good. Patricia, yes. So we said it's less than or equal to. So I'm going to write 4x plus 3y is less than or equal to 600. Then after that, I continue. The tailor makes a profit of 80,000 on each set of boys' uniform and 6,000 on each set of girls' uniform. Now, that one shows us that a profit is the tailor is making, meaning that whenever you hear of profits, we are looking at maximization. Now, the first two inequalities I'm going to first put the non-negative inequalities. And the non-negative inequalities, what did we say? Non-negative quantities. We can't have negative quantity. So here we shall say our x is greater than or equal to 0 and our y is greater than or equal to 0. Then the last one I write, I will just say that my profit of x in terms of x and y, I'll obtain it from 6,000 of x plus, oh no, it is 8,000. I'll obtain it from 8,000 of x plus 6,000 of y. Now, that is the first part. But now those ones, we are dealing with conditions as inequalities. Members, is that fine? They told you that express the tailor's condition as inequalities. Now, this is how we expected you to have your answers presented. Those are the inequalities. Members, is that fine? Is that okay? Okay, members are saying it is very fine. Now, we go to the second part. And equations. Now, when they tell you equations, they are looking out for the boundary line. Now, what does it mean? We are going to find out the equations. Now, the equations, allow me, since I've reduced my space, I'm going to just put here now, my equations. Now, those equations are what you call the boundary line. Now, your boundary line, you will say now for the first part of x greater than or equal to 80, your equation becomes x is equal to 8. And the nature of this, you can say it is a body line. Then you go to the next one, you say y is less than or equal to 100, and your equation is y is equal to 100. Then the next one is 4x plus 3y less than or equal to 600, and your equation here is 4x plus 3y is equal to 600. Then these last ones, x greater or equal to 0 means x is equal to 0, and y greater than or equal to 0 means y is equal to 0. So that's how you present them. Alternatively, after writing your inequality, you could as well go on and write the equation. You write the inequality, the equation, inequality, the equation. So they were scoring both the inequality and the equation. So you had to have the inequalities and the equations. Members, is that fine? Is that okay? Okay, yeah, I think it is okay. Yes, yes, yes. Mark, you're right. It is because here, the question, the task wanted the inequalities and the equations. So that's why we are also putting the equation. So that was our part A. Then now we go to part B. Now, when we go to part B, we shall come here and now start writing our equation we are going to start with this one. 4x plus 3y is equal to 600. So what we are going to do, we draw our table where we shall have x, we shall have y. Now, when we draw the table, we still will do the same. When x is 0, when y is equal to 0. Then we come here and say we have 4x plus 3y is equal to 600. Say when x is 0, so I'll have 4 times 0 plus 3y is equal to 600. 3y is equal to 600. Divide by 3 by 3, y will equal to, this is 200. Then do the next one. 4x plus 3y is equal to 600. So where there is now y, put 0. So I'll say 4x plus 3 times 0 is equal to 600. 4x will equal to 600. Divide by 4, divide by 4. And therefore, our x will equal to, I think this is 150. So here, we shall put our 200. And here, we shall put our 150. Very, very good. Now, after doing that, write your coordinates. I repeat, always write your coordinates. Don't leave them in the table. So your coordinates you are going to plot is going to be 0, 200, and 150, and 0. And please make sure at least you have 2 points you are going to plot. At least 2 points. Never have a 0, never have 1, have 2. Because when they are scoring, they will score at least 2 points, or they look out for the 2 points you have been able to extract. So when you don't extract the coordinates, even if your table is right, they may not give you anything. They may not give you anything. Okay, then our second, I think that is the only table we wanted. Then for the next one, you had x greater or equal to 80, and we have said that this is x is equal to 8. Now here, just for understanding, we say that this is x and y. When x is 80, it means that anything here is going to be 80 on x, but our y can be any value of your choice. So you can say, since these values you are not saying a bit big, then you can say maybe it can be 20, it can be 40, it can be 60, anything. It is up to you. So now here, the coordinates you have is 80, 20, it can be 80, 40, it can be 80 and 60. But since this is just a line, you need to just know how it looks like. Then the other one was y is equal to 100. So this one, in case you don't know how the line looks like, it means that your y is 100. And once your y is 100, your x can be any value. It can be 40, it can be 60, it can be 80. It can be any value of your choice. But this is a line that you can be knowing within your head. So you can say 40, 100, 60, 100, then 80, 100. What matters a lot is that y doesn't change. It remains the same. It's only x that changes. Okay, now those are our values. Now, always before you plot, before you draw your graph, you need to know which kind of scale am I going to use. Look at what is the highest value. When you look at our x, you are noticing that on x, when you look at the 2, so far I'm seeing 150 as my highest. When I look at y, I'm seeing my highest as 200, meaning that here you need a scale that you are going to use. Yes, Doreen?
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Master, you're too speedy. You're not getting the things.
Doreen, which part are you not getting?
And x is greater than 80.
Did you understand how we got x is equal to 80?
No.
Is this your first lesson or you have been like attending every day?
My first lesson.
Oh, I think that's where the problem is. Yeah, because
Yes.
this is our fourth and we are just building on from where we started from. So my assumption was that people who are on have been attending and now we are building on. So
Okay.
now I would advise that maybe after the lesson, you go back and watch the 4 lessons we had because this is just like a continuation. That's why for some parts, I just take assumption that now people are there.
Okay.
But now to help you with this, we say that whenever we meet an inequality and we want to form an equation, we always just get what we have as our inequality. We replace it with an equal sign. So we just say x is equal to 8. And this one is a line. X is equal to 8 is a line that passes through 80. But when we say x is equal to 80, it means that the x values are constant and not changing. But the y values can be any value of your choice, depending on the scale you are going to use. Similarly, when they say y is maybe our y was less than 1 or equal to 100, still, when you are forming an equation, you remove the inequality, you replace it with an equal sign. So you say y is equal to 100. And for this case, it means that y values are constant. They do not change. All of them are 100. But the x values can be of any choice that you make.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yes, but still I would advise, please maybe after the lesson, create time and go through the videos such that you can be on the same page. Okay, but let me slow down a bit, I think. Okay.
Yes.
Now, what we are going to do, members, we are going to go to our graph and I'll draw my graph like that. That is my line. I will draw another line like that. Now, after drawing my lines, remember we want a good graph. Whenever you are doing these things, make sure you don't leave anyone in doubt. Make sure you satisfy them. Otherwise, when they don't get satisfied, they look out for the reason for reducing your scores or for not scoring you. So make sure that for anything that requires a good graph, put it there for you as long as you know it qualifies to be called a good graph. So this is my demarcation. I'll label that this is my y-axis and this is my x-axis. After doing so, the next thing we are going to do, I'm going to come, I know my graph. Remember, we had said that our X value, the greatest is 150, then the Y is 200. So for me, you are going to allow me, I'm going to use my scale. I can use 50. So I can say, this is 50, this is 100, this is 100, what? 150, and this is 200. It is very okay with me. Then I can say, I can still use the same scale on the Y. I can say, this is 50, hope to fit. This is 100. This is 150. And then this is 200. But feel free, as long as you, even someone who uses 20, it can as well fit. So feel free to use the scale that you feel can fit and will make your work easy. But the most important thing is not how big your graph is, but is the ability for you to be able to read accurately and being able to plot it. Because you may have a very big graph, but when you cannot read the values. So make sure that whatever you're doing, you can be able to plot and you can be able to read. Now I go to the next one is the title. So I write my title. Anyone to give us the title? Yes, Abraham. Abraham, unmute and tell us the title we can write.
I had a question.
Okay, first ask.
I was asking, do the scales of the y-axis and the x-axis have to be the same, or the x-axis scale can be different?
They can be different.
Yeah,
okay. They can be different. So here you can decide to use 100, 200 like that. It is okay.
Okay.
It depends on the values. Okay. Who's giving us the title, members? Joan, I saw your hand up. Joan, yes.
The title is A Graph Showing the Feasible Region.
A graph
Showing
the feasible region. What should people see on the feasible region?
Pardon?
What are people seeing on the feasible region? What is the feasible region showing?
The feasible region is supposed to show the number of boys and girls.
The number of boys and girls, really? Something still missing. What is the question turning to? What do they want?
The sets of uniforms.
A graph showing the feasible region. Now construct it very well, the title.
A graph showing the feasible region of the sets of uniforms.
Of the sets of uniforms.
The sets of uniforms that Taylor is going to use.
Showing the feasibility of the sets of uniform, the tailor. Is he making or what? Or makes for boys and girls?
Yeah.
Okay. Hope members, that one is very, very fine. Eh? Yes. So make sure that your title comes out well. A graph showing the feasible region of the sets of uniform the tailor makes for the boys and girls. So something like that. But it is just a matter of you. As long as your graph communicates, that is the most important thing. It should communicate what you have on. Don't just write open statements, a graph showing the feasible region. What is contained within the feasible region? Then after that, we are going to go on and still label. On the y-axis, which quantity do we have? Here we have the sets for the boys' uniform. So here I will say, I think Y is girls. So I will say girls uniform. Then here I will say the boys uniform, or sets for the boys uniform, sets for the girls uniform. Hope that is very okay, members, through the chat. Okay. It is very okay. Now, after doing so, we write our scale. Who wants to give us our scale for vertical axis? Vertical. Someone, you can raise up the hand and you tell us what should our scale be. Yes, Favor.
For the vertical, we shall say 2 centimeters represent 50 uniforms for the girls. 50 sets.
Now, Favor, is it possible to report in terms of 1 centimeter?
Yes, 1 centimeter represents 25.
1 centimeter represents 25, eh?
Yes.
Then horizontal?
The horizontal, it's also the same. 1 centimeter represents 25.
1 centimeter represents 25, but one is for boys, one, and the other one is for girls. Now, after doing so, it means that your graph is the talking one. You have the scale, you have the title, you have demarcated very well, you have labeled very well. Surely they cannot fail to give you a score on your graph. Now, the next thing, we are going to do the plotting. Now, when I come to the plotting, I will start with my values, which is 0 and 200. 0 is here, 200 is here. So I'll put a demarcation. The next one is 150 and 0, which is a point here. Now, what am I going to do? I'll get my ruler. This is my ruler. And then I'll connect very well. I'll connect like that. Because it is a borderline, I'll connect it like that. Then after, let me first at same so straight. Yeah. After connecting like that, I'm going to go. The next thing is that we always ask ourselves, is it the side of A or B? So this is my A, this is my B. Members, write any coordinate in the chat. Oh, Joy has told us 50 and 100. 50 and 50. Okay, you can take any. So 50 and 50. Now 50 and 50, this is your X and Y. You test it. But make sure it is within the region. So 50 and 50 is somewhere here. So I'll go and I say I have 4X plus 3Y and then less than or equal to 600. So this will be 4 times 50 plus 3 times 50 less than or equal to 600. Then I'm going to go on and place, and I say 4 times 50. What do I get? That is 200. Then I go 3 times 50. That is 150 less than or equal to 600. Then I ask, is 200 plus 150? I'll get my answer as 350. Then the next question I ask, is it wanted and wanted? And in the chat paper saying it is the wanted region because it makes sense. 350 is less than 600. So it is the wanted region, and meaning that we shall shade the other opposite side. So I'm going to come and I shade the other side. I say I'll shade this side. I'll shade like that. Yeah. Please, members, don't test on your graph, test on your paper. Here, because we don't have space. But still, I'll label my graph now as 4x plus 3y is equal to 600. Now, after that, we are going to draw the second one, which is the other values. We had 80, 20, 80, 40, 80, 60. Now, those ones, I'm going to plot them. Now, you have to know the scale you are using. So when I look at the Y, I'm seeing, I'm starting with this one here, 80 and 20. But I need to know where the 80 is. So I need to know my scale very well. So when you look at our scale, you have here is 0 and this is 50. So you can first ask yourself, what does one box contain? So we said what you do, get that highest value 50 minus 0, divide by how many boxes are in between, that they are 10. So this gives us 50 out of 10, which is equal to 5, meaning that each box has 5. So these small boxes, this is 5, this is 10, this is 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Now, in case we are looking for 80, what I do, I will say 80 divided by what the box contains. So when I say 80 divided by 5, 80 divided by one small box, I'll get 16. So from here, I'll count 16 boxes that these are 10, these are 15, and 16 is here. So that's where I'm going to put my 80 is somewhere there for X. Then we have said that for that line, you just need to know it, that for any value. So for me, let me choose that I'll plot my values for X. Allow me to use 50 because it is already there. Allow me to use 100. Allow me to use 150. Allow me to use 200. I would have them like that. Feel free to use any values because we say that now going forward, you need to know how that line looks like. That is a line that passes through 80 vertically. So here you can have your coordinates, say 80, 50, depending on the scale you have used, 80, 100. Now afterwards, we are going to get our ruler, and our ruler, allow me to use another color. Which color? Okay, let me use black. Okay, now I'm going to draw, but still it is a bold line. So I'll come, I draw that line like that. It will be a vertical line that will go through like that. Yeah. So afterwards, I'm going to ask, I have two regions, or you can ask yourself some. Now, like for this, X is greater than or 80, you ask, which values are greater than 80? So when which values are greater than 80, then you start thinking, values greater or equal to 80, you have members, you tell me, this is A and this side is B. Which side are we going to shade? Tell me AB. AB. People are saying A, people are saying A, people are saying A. Magezi, Favor, Joy, yes, A. Because those values are less than 80. Values that are greater than 80, we have 90, what? So they are on the right side. So I'll come here and I shade, I shade, I shade, I shade, I shade like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. Then after I label my line, this is the line X is equal to 8. Please never put inequalities here. You'll ashame us. You'll ashame us. Okay, so allow me to remove this. I remove this as well. Oh, no. Allow me to bring back this line here. Okay. Okay, we are going to continue. Okay. Okay, so here we have our 80. There's no need for you to indicate it. So after that, that is our second line. Then we go to the last line, which is 100. So 100, we have said our here, allow me to say my line for that one. Since 100 is the same, you can even know it. Some of these lines, please start knowing them. So when they say y is equal to 100, this is a horizontal line that goes through 100. So here your values, I can say I'm going to plot 50, 100, 100, 100, like that. So 50, 100 is a point here. Hope you are not seeing it. I have another point here, 100, 100. I have another one. I'm plotting points because they are convenient to me. I can even have 0 and 100. After, get your ruler. But still that one is a bold line. So you need to always look at it such that you don't get challenges. At times it may skip you. So that line is going to look like that. Are you seeing? That's how the line is going to look like. And then you ask members, I have two regions. I have A and B. Which region are we shading? Are we shading up or down? Put in the chat. Up or down? A. We are shading A. Very good. Because there they told you that your Y must be less than or equal to 100. So all these values down are the values that are less than. So the values that are another one, they are the ones up. So I'll come here, shade like that, shade like that, shade like that, shade like that, shade like that. And then I label this line as Y is equal to 100. So when you look at it, let me shade even here. So when you look at it, you are not seeing that our region that we want, our region is the region that is being bounded here. But we have not completed because you are seeing down is not yet shaded. So you are going to shade it because that is for x greater than or equal to 0. So shade it also down here, 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 here. And you know that this line is the line x is equal. Oh, this is the line y is equal to 0. Then after shade this line as well, this side, to show that you really understand the mathematics, and say this line here is the line x is equal to 0. So now when you finish that, it means you have finished and you are good to go. So there you have your scores ready. Now, but I want you to understand that one, for this particular question, the line y is equal to 100, it was not helpful. It was not of any use. But even if you find that you are not going to, because it is not bounding any region, so, but you had to indicate it there. You have to indicate it there to show that it is really needed. So this is how we expected your brothers and sisters who sat to have their work presented. Now, after doing so, we are going to extract the coordinates. But like I've told you already, first look out for those corner points. Those are the ones that are going to give us actually what we want. So look out for those corner points. According to my graph, I can decide to look out here. In case I can read that point, I look out on these lines here. Those are the first points I can consider. Afterwards, I can come. I look at anything that I can read as long as it is on the line and I can read it. But also I can sample a few points within. So members in the chat, put for me the values you are seeing. 150 and 0. Put as many as you can see. 8 and 0. Those ones we are looking at corner points. 8 and 100. Okay. 8 and 50, 125. 100 and 0. 150. Put what you can see. You want me to put, okay. Monique?
Yes, I need help for sure on how you know that this is a point, because I'm confused on how to know that it's like 150. I want you to help me and show me how to know that it is.
Now, when you look here, did you hope, because I showed you one, what you need to do is that for you need to know what each box contains. That is the first thing. Take an example, you look at this point. When you look at this point, down here you have 80. So this point here is going to be 80 and 50. When you look at this point here, you notice that that point can be, when you look at the meeting point here, it is meeting somewhere here. And when you look at this point here, you're noticing that this is 50 and each box we said is 5. So you first say, what is 5 times 9 boxes? That is 45. Then you add on the 50. You get 95. So that means that here it will be 80 and 95. Then you come, for you, as long as you can read a point, you are noticing that there is a point here. You ask yourself, 80, these are 5 boxes. So this point can be 90. And then when you reach here, remember each box is 5. So you say these are 6 boxes. So you say 6 times 5, then plus the 50 down. which is 80. So this is 80 and 90. Then you can come that this point here is maybe this one here. Are you seeing this one? That this
Yes.
point here is, can you tell me how many boxes down are you seeing from 100?
I'm seeing 5 boxes. Up
So
4.
if each box is 5, how many are those?
50.
4 times 5 is?
4 times 5, 20.
20. Then plus 100 you get?
120.
Then here you come here. You ask yourself here, how many boxes are you seeing in between here?
I'm seeing up to 50.
Hey, no, it's not at 50. Here.
8.
8. Times 5 you get?
40.
40. So that is
I push on
120
100.
and 40.
Yeah.
Are you seeing? Yes.
Yes.
Even another one can see here and say, I'm seeing a point somewhere here. Then you ask, what is that? So here I'm saying it is 105. And then along here, I'm saying 56. This is 60, 105 and 60. Something like that. So for you, extract as many as you can. But I've told you, look at those lines that are bounding. As long as they are not dotted lines, look at them, be very keen at them, and always choose at least 5 points. Yes, Desire.
Sir, I was requesting that you could put back the previous joining the. I just take a
So
screenshot.
put what?
Put back the previous slide so that I can take a screenshot.
Oh, okay. Desire, I'm going to put it back, eh? Is that fine? Yes. Allow to first reach somewhere, then I put it back, eh? I'm going to put it back. Don't worry. Okay. So members, for me, I've extracted those ones. I don't know for you what you have extracted, but for whatever you have extracted, we shall use it. Yes, Lucky.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
From what I was asking, like I was supposed to give all the points that are there.
No. For you sample,
give
but
the
I've said
maximum.
at least have 5 points, eh?
Okay, so that's what I was asking.
Okay. So members, from here, allow me to go. Okay. Now allow me to go to my table now. Allow me, my table, I'm going to put it here. Hope you can see the points I've extracted. So here I know some of you, for you had, yeah, this was what? Was it 150? I think. Here. 150 and 0. Something like that. So I'm going to draw my table. And in my table, I'm going to have it like this. In my table, I'm going to say optimal points. And now under my optimal points, I put the pairs I have. So for me, I want 80, 95. I have 80, 50. I have 90 and 80. I have 105 and 60. I have 120 and 40. I have 150 and 0. Put as for you, but make sure you balance your time, because also balancing your time is important. So here I will put my profit in terms of X and Y, and then I'll come here and I say this is, I think it was 8,000 of X plus 6,000 of Y. Now, after that, we start. Okay, now, when you are extracting the points, you can sample from the entire region. of the feasible region. Yes, it doesn't mean that you need to extract all points from the line. No, you can sample. Here along the line, I can choose, there's something though, the reason why I've chosen the points on the line, there's something I want to show you, something that I want to show you. That's why I've chosen quite a number of points from the same line. But sample, you can say on the line, I pick 2, here I pick maybe 1 or 2, then also here I pick maybe some few in the middle. But like I said, that always you'll find that your maximum are going to be either along the line or along the corners, and in some cases in the middle. So just pick some few, don't pick very many. But always, let's pick in the entire feasible region. Yes. Now, what someone is saying, now when it comes to picking, like I've said, that pick from those corners. So when you are picking those 5 points that you really want, make sure that you first prioritize the corners, given that those corners are made up of body lines. But if those corners are made of dotted lines, then don't choose them. Choose now from the other, choose from the middle, or anywhere. Yes. Okay, now please substitute in. Now we are going to substitute in, but for me I will substitute in 1, then substitute in for me the rest. So when you have 80, this is going to be 8,000 times 80 plus 6,000 times 95. So you substitute in and you see what you get. So substituting, yes, but I want someone who has been very accurate, may have not been so accurate, to tell me this point here. Is it 95? Is it 80, 95? Oh, someone can tell me what you are getting. For that point, is it 80, 95, or it is something not that? So you can put it in the chat. I want someone who has been very, very accurate. Yeah, because I've not been accurate. So this one is not 95. So in fact, I'm going to, according to what I'm saying, it's not 95. So who has been accurate? Those who have been accurate. This is not 95. Yeah. Yeah, more so using the graph. Okay, someone's saying 95. Okay, it depends, It depends. Yeah, but when I use another approach, I'm saying it's not 85. It is something like 93. But it depends on the kind of graph you're having. For me, it is at about 93, 94, somewhere there. Yeah, so you'll check it out very well. Most so now, the only problem we can have is sometimes our graphs are not the accurate ones. The one we are using, they are not so accurate. So, but I'm saying it is 93 around there. So I will consider 93 because, so you can compute, but in case you have got that, it is okay. But there's a reason why I've chosen now 93. So this one is giving me 198. Okay, so do the rest, Some are getting 80, 93, 80, 92. Yeah, it's around there. Okay, do the rest and then we see what we have. Do the rest and then we see what you have. This one I'm getting 940. So punch in your calc. This one I'm getting 1. Here I'm getting 1. Punch in. Hope members, we have finished. Are we on the same page? Yeah, then there is something coming. Okay. Okay, something like that. But you can have other points, members. You can have other points. Yeah, more so in the mid. Let me choose, because some of you may say, why did you take? I have 150 there. I can include it 100 and then 50. Punch it there. Yes. Yeah, but I said you don't need very many. You don't need very many. But I chose some more points on one line to show you something. To show you something. So here you have 100. Okay. Members, are we here? Now I want to emphasize something from this slide where we are. Now where we are, I want to emphasize one thing. I don't know. I want you members to look at the value we are obtaining. For all the points we have chosen from this line, what are you noticing about them in the chart? The value you get. What are you noticing? Look at the profit. Mark has noticed it. Are you noticing that all the points we have chosen, as long as it is from the same line, you'll find that the answer is the same. The answer is the what? Is the same. You get the same what? The same profit. So that's why it is not necessary for you to choose from the same line. So you can just choose 1 or 2 points from the same line. You don't need to choose all the points along that line. Hope now that one you have got it clearly. So why? Because they will give you the same, they will yield the same what? The same answer. So even when you do the same along this line, any point you are going to choose along this line, this is 8 and 50. Any point you choose from there, you'll get the same answer. You can test it. If you decide to use, this is 80 and this point here, this is what? You'll find that the answers are almost the same. Most so, for vertical lines, for the line that is vertical, the story is different. But for the lines that are diagonally, you'll find that you are getting almost the same answer. Except when the lines are horizontal, horizontal and just vertical. That one, the answer will not be the same. But if it is something that is what? Diagonally, you'll find that the answers you are getting are the same. Hope members, that one is very clear. Hope that one is very clear. Whenever you find these diagonal lines, these ones, you'll almost get the same answer for any point you choose along the line. Now, we are going to conclude. Members, what was our question asking us? Our question asked us that help the tailor to determine the possible number of sets of boys and girls uniform that should be made to maximize the profit. Hence, the maximum amount of the tailor is likely to make. Can we conclude? Raise up your hand and then you tell us what is your conclusion. Who wants to conclude? Who wants to conclude for us? Anyone? Yes, Amara, Desire, yes.
See that since the tailor wants to maximize the amount, we shall use 90 and 80 in order. We shall use 90. So what was 90 representing?
That was boys.
The boys. So we shall maximize the number of the sets of boys to be 90 and the sets of girls to be 80, so that the profits will increase to 1,200,000.
Okay. Yes, Amara, thank you, Desire.
Teacher, I would go with 80 and 95. Because since now we want to maximize the amount of money that the person is receiving, which would be 1,210,000. So let's say we would maximize by using the number of sets. We would create a number of sets of uniform for boys 80, and the number of sets for uniforms for girls 95.
Okay, is it what you are getting from your graph?
Yes.
Okay. And which are you getting still 1.2?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, however, for these answers we have, there is an answer that we cannot use, and that answer is here. For this one, you cannot use it, much as it is giving you 1.2. Reason, you remember they told us that x must be greater or equal to 80, and y must be less than 100. Less than or equal to 100. But also you reason, this school has, the tailor is making for boys and girls. So when it is 0, it means that girls will not put on anything. It is only boys. Yet she wants to make for both. So this answer here may not qualify because of that kind of reasoning. But here, for any pair that you have, as long as that pair is yielding 1.2, that pair is always marked. Get me right. If here we are looking out for the maximum, and we have found out that our maximum amount is 1.2, any pair that a student comes up with, given that you have reasoned it well and it satisfies the inequalities, then that pair is considered. So for this year or for last year, any pair that a candidate could come up with, as long as it is yielding 1.2, that pair was scored. So, but your conclusion had to be a good conclusion. Therefore, I want you to make always a good conclusion, because they will be basing on a conclusion and the amount. But any pair, as long as that pair is giving you 1.2, and that was the answer, 1.2. So in case your friend tells you, for me, I got this and got this, it is an indicator that that person didn't make it. So here, you could say that the possible number for the possible number that the tailor could make for the boys sets is 90, and for the girls thing is 80, and the maximum amount of money the tailor is likely to make is 1.2 million. So that's how you can conclude for that particular number. Members, are we together on that? Kindly let me know. Patricia says yes. Okay, Mark has said also yes. Hunter is finally also saying yes. Okay, I think members are very okay with it. So that is what we have to do. And this number, it is one of the easy numbers you can attempt as long as you know how to extract. Mageza said yes. Bernard is okay. Very good. Okay, now we go to one more. One more. Hope we still have some energy. Members, do we have some energy to complete this number? Or we can extract, or I give it as homework. What do you suggest? Put in the chat your suggestion. Should we do it as homework? We do it here? What do you want? Now, you say homework, or we do here? Any? I want to see what the chat, homework, very good, homework. So can we take a screenshot? Take a screenshot. We do it as homework, okay. We do it as homework. However, before we do it as homework, can you allow me to first say something about it? More so, there is a statement I want to make clear. The statement I want to look at is here only, is what I gave it to you yesterday in one of the questions you attempted, though I didn't explain about it, but allow me to throw some light here. So here you notice that we shall use cows and goats. Now I expect you to say that here they told that they also want to ensure that the number of goats. So here, how are you going to interpret it? You are going to say that these are goats. The ratio of goats to cows is equal to, they are telling you that the number of goats they sell are less than twice the number of cows. So you write it, you say goats to cows is 2 to 1. That is the meaning of that statement. So meaning that when your goats is your Y, your cow is going to be X is equal to 2 to 1. But since here they are using less than, so here instead of equals, you'll put less than, less than. So you know that in ratios, y to x means y out of x. Then you say less than. 2 to 1 means 2 out of 1. So then it means you have y out of x less than 2. When you cross multiply, you'll have y less than 2x. So this is the inequality that you have to use here, where they say the number of goats they sell are less than twice the number of cows. So the same idea, you had to apply it where we had executive and ordinary seats. That item that had it, you had to say, I don't know what they started with, but you had to say executive to ordinary. And they said, is it twice what? So for you say twice to 1. Then after, you work it like that. Hope members, we have picked the idea. Have we picked the idea? Yeah. Members, I feel we are there. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that is the idea. I thought goats are. Now that is where it comes. Now that's where the problem, since there is going to come. I thought goats are less. So when you interpret like this one, you'll be able to come up with an idea. Allow me to maybe to use an example of executive and ordinary seats. Whenever you go in for those shows, you always find that the executive seats and the ordinary seats, which ones are few? You'll find out that the executive seats are always few, while the ordinary ones are always more. An ordinary person is the one who will pay the 10,000, whereas an executive one will pay more, maybe 50,000. So you'll find that one executive seat is equivalent to 5 ordinary people. That is like the interpretation. Even in real life, you can relate it to real life. You'll find that an executive, I think they call them the VIPs when you're going in for those shows. VIPs, you are paying 1 million. If you want to be ordinary, you are paying 10,000. So you are not saying that the VIP, they pay more than the ordinary. But one seat of one VIP person is equivalent to about 100 of the ordinary people. So you can interpret it in that kind of format, such that you know that which one is going to be more, which one is going to be less. So in other words, what you are seeing as your Y, what you are seeing as your Y is like that. These are like these are like the ordinary people, or the ordinary, something like that. And the X is like the executive people. So in something like that, but you have to interpret it in that format. Ordinary and executive. So always the ordinary people are more than the VIPs. Even when you go, you find that very many ordinary people, even in schools, even in real life, ordinary are always many, but extraordinary are always few. Even when you go to class, you'll find that out of 100, when you look for ordinary, they are the majority. But the extraordinary are always very few. Those that do exceptional things, those ones that are more responsible are always few. But the ordinary ones are always very many. So, and always make sure that you fight to be among the extraordinary. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. People are saying, I thought cows are Y. We have said that always what they start with is what you start with. So they started with cows and then they brought in the goats. That's why we say cows X, goats Y. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. I want to wish you a good day. Go through that number and then feel free to share with me what you are getting, but maybe I can't. Yeah, feel free to share with what you get, and we shall start from here tomorrow. However,